Hi everyone. Okay, continuing in showing my entire DVD collection of over 4,000 titles, alphabetical order. This is video number 17. There's a playlist on my channel if you want to follow along that way as well. Okay, here we go. Clint Eastwood, Charlie Sheen in The Rookie. And not one, but two editions here of Norman Jewison's Rollerball, starring James Caan. Quite a fun one this. This is a Canadian movie involving a big monster truck. This is Rolling Vengeance with quite a neat supporting role for Ned Beatty. Classic adaptation of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, directed by Franco Zeffirelli, 1968, with Olivia Hussey and Leonard Whiting. This is also available in the Criterion Collection. Jet Li in Romeo Must Die. Definitely some of the best car chases ever committed to film in John Frankenheimer's Ronin. A great adaptation of Emma Donoghue's book by Lenny Abrahamson, starring Brie Larson in an Oscar-winning role. This is Room. An absolute classic of British cinema, directed by Jack Clayton. This is Room at the Top with Simone Signoret and Lawrence Harvey. Add it to your collection, it's essential. Great movie from Shane Meadows. This is A Room for Romeo Brass. And here we have for TV, this is a remake of the classic Roots with Malachi Kirby and Lawrence Fishburne. Bette Midler had an Oscar-nominated performance in a sort of Janis Joplin-type role in The Rose, directed by Mark Rydell. And written and directed by Tom Stoppard. This is Gary Oldman and Tim Roth in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. Based on a novel by Mark Twain, this is Roughing It, which includes Ned Beatty, James Garner, Eric Roberts. I love this movie. This is Steve Martin in his Cyrano de Bergerac adaptation, Roxanne. Filmed here in Vancouver, this is Jackie Chan in Rumble in the Bronx. I might do a video one day trying to show you all the various locations where this was filmed. Tom Twyker's energetic Run Lola Run with Franco Potente. And Thomas Milian reprising his role as Cuchillo from The Big Gundown in Run Man Run. Based on a novel from John Grisham, this is John Cusack and Gene Hackman in Runaway Jury. And what's this? A Cannon movie that gets Oscar nominations? Yeah, this is a great movie. John Voight, Eric Roberts in Andrei Konchalovsky's Runaway Train. Kristen Stewart gets to play Joan Jett in The Runaways, along with Dakota Fanning. And I gather Edgar Wright's planning a remake of this, but this is Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Running Man. Great movie from Sidney Lumet. This is River Phoenix, Judd Hirsch in Running on Empty. And written and directed by Ryan Murphy. This is Annette Bening and Alec Baldwin in Running with Scissors. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker in Rush Hour. Rush Hour 2. And Rush Hour 3. Great movie from Wes Anderson. This is Rushmore with Jason Schwartzman and Bill Murray. Adapted from a John le Carré novel, this is Sean Connery and Michelle Pfeiffer in The Russia House. And from Alexander Sokurov, this is the classic film Russian Ark, which is notable for being filmed entirely in one take in the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg. Tom Berenger in spoof western Rustler's Rhapsody, directed by Hugh Wilson. And Danny DeVito and Bette Midler in Ruthless People, directed by Abrahams, Zucker and Zucker, the guys that brought you Airplane. Must admit, I haven't watched this one yet, but from director Abel Ferrara, this is R. Xmas. And classic epic movie from David Lean from 1970, Ryan's Daughter, with Robert Mitchum, Sarah Miles and John Mills. From director Andrei Tarkovsky, this is The Sacrifice. And a Louis L'Amour Western mini-series here with Tom Selleck. This is The Sackets. Julianne Moore in Safe, directed by Todd Haynes. This is also available in the Criterion Collection. And directed by Philip Noyce, Val Kilmer and Elizabeth Shue in the disappointing, it has to be said, The Saint. Great movie from Mira Nair. This is Salam Bombay. And from Tinto Brass, the guy who brought you Caligula, this is Salon Kitty. Another one from Philip Noyce, this is Angelina Jolie in Salt. And great performance from James Woods in this one from Oliver Stone, Salvador. The TV movie of Salem's Lot, which starred James Mason and David Soul. And Samsara, not to be confused with the other visually beautiful film Samsara, but yeah, this one is set in the Himalayas and is about a journey to enlightenment, directed by Pan Nalin. Dwayne Johnson, Carla Gugino in the ridiculous San Andreas, and a bit of stand-up comedy from Sandra Bernhardt, who in terms of movies is perhaps best known for being in Scorsese's The King of Comedy. Classic war movie with John Wayne, The Sands of Iwo Jima. And Christopher Lee in some Hammer horror, The Satanic Rites of Dracula. John Travolta dancing to the Bee Gees in Saturday Night Fever. And great Oscar-winning performance from Jack Lemmon in this one, Save the Tiger. A good Disney one this, about the backstory to Mary Poppins. This is Tom Hanks and Emma Thompson in Saving Mr. Banks. And Steven Spielberg's classic, Saving Private Ryan. John Cusack blasting out a bit of Peter Gabriel to Ione Skye in Cameron Crowe's Say Anything, whilst Nastasia Kinski decides it's better to say nothing in this film with William Baldwin, directed by Alan Moyle, who also did Pump Up the Volume. Disappointing horror movie this, Scalps, and based on a novel by Philip K. Dick, this is Richard Linklater's A Scanner Darkly with Keanu Reeves. TV movie filming of the classic The Scarlet Pimpernel, this one with Anthony Andrews and Jane Seymour. And say hello to my little friend here, this is Al Pacino in Scarface. Now there's been various versions of The Scarlet Letter, including a movie with Demi Moore, but this is Meg Foster and John Hurd in The Scarlet Letter. From Fritz Lang, this is Edward G. Robinson and Joan Bennett in Scarlet Street. And some more Hammer horror. This is Christopher Lee in Scars of Dracula, directed by Roy Ward Baker. Steelbook here. This is the Scary Movie Collection, all 4 movies. A great Vietnamese drama, this one, from Tran Anh Hung. This is The Scent of Green Papaya. Steven Spielberg's classic Schindler's List. And Gael Garcia Bernal and Charlotte Gainsbourg in Michael Gondry's The Science of Sleep. Scooby-Doo and the Harlem Globetrotters. I used to always like the Harlem Globetrotters when I was a kid. And Brendan Fraser in School Ties. The Sci-Fi Boys. This is a documentary that celebrates the art of special effects and includes the likes of Peter Jackson, Rick Baker, and the great Ray Harryhausen. Scarlett Johansson and Hugh Jackman in Woody Allen's Scoop. Cult classic from Edgar Wright, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And directed by Michael Ritchie, this is Brendan Fraser and Albert Brooks in The Scout. Wes Craven's great fun, Scream. And Peter Weller in the futuristic Screamers. From director Baltasar Kormákur, this is The Sea. And one of these cheap Dollar Tree type titles that pulls you in because of the great cover, Sea Beast. World War II action-adventure The Sea Wolves with Roger Moore, Gregory Peck and David Niven. Just look at this horrendous drawings though. And love this movie, directed by Brian Forbes. This is the classic Seance on a Wet Afternoon with Richard Attenborough and Kim Stanley. Really nice edition this of one of my favourite westerns, The Searchers. And John Cho in a social media thriller, Searching. Directed by Joe Dante, this is The Second Civil War. And written and directed by Christopher Hampton, adapting Joseph Conrad's The Secret Agent. This is starring Bob Hoskins, Patricia Arquette, Christian Bale. Directed by Alan Rudolph, this is Campbell Scott and Hope Davis in The Secret Life of Dentists. A really fun one this. This is Ben Stiller's adaptation of The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Love this movie, The Secret in Their Eyes, with Ricardo Duran and Soledad Villamil. Really good performance from her. This was remade with Julia Roberts and Chiwetel Ejiofor, but yeah, this one is fantastic. From director Cleo Barnard, this is The Selfish Giant. And a fun one this, Send Me No Flowers, with Doris Day and Rock Hudson, and Tony Randall almost steals the movie. Ang Lee's adaptation of Sense and Sensibility. A bit of TV here, haven't tried this yet, but this is Joanne Lumley and Dennis Lawson in Sensitive Skin. 1976 horror movie directed by Michael Winner and starring Chris Sarandon. This is The Sentinel. And then from 2006, this is a thriller called The Sentinel with Michael Douglas and Kiefer Sutherland. Directed by Suzanne Bier, this is Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence in Serena. And Joss Whedon's film of Serenity, coming after his series Firefly. Written and directed by Stephen Knight, who writes Peaky Blinders. This is Serenity with Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. And a classic performance from Al Pacino in Sidney Lumet's Serpico. Absolutely love this movie, one of my favourites. Directed by Robert Wise. This is Robert Ryan in The Setup. And David Fincher's classic Seven. Adventure movie set in 1840s Oregon. This is Seven Alone. And absolutely one of my favourite musicals, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Just worth it alone for the fantastic dance sequence at the barn. Just incredible stuff. 7 Days to Noon, really good little British thriller about a guy threatening to use an atomic bomb device. Fantastic stuff, directed by the Bolting brothers. Compare this perhaps with Mimi Leder's The Peacemaker, starring George Clooney and Nicole Kidman. They tread similar grounds, but it's a really good example of how Hollywood can go over the top on some of the action there, whilst this one is just a really taut, tight little thriller. Really good stuff. Billy Wilder's classic, The 7-Year Itch, with Marilyn Monroe and her skirt-raising antics. Cohen Matthews as Sinbad, The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, with great stop-motion effects from Ray Harryhausen. Steven Soderbergh's brilliant debut with Sex, Lies and Videotape. And Ben Kingsley in an unforgettable performance in Jonathan Glazer's Sexy Beast. Not sure why I picked this one up actually, but this is Octavia Spencer and Sam Worthington in The Shack. And this is TV really, but yeah, this is a fantastic adaptation of Ernest Shackleton's Journey to the Antarctic, Shackleton, starring Kenneth Branagh. Directed by, as well as starring, the late Brian Dennehy. This is the thriller Shadow of a Doubt, also with Bonnie Bedelia and Fairuza Balk. And produced by Ron Howard. This is the Moon documentary In the Shadow of the Moon. Sorry for the glare. Love this movie. This is The Shadow of Violence, or an alternative title which I prefer is Calm with Horses. Absolutely great performance here from Cosmo Jarvis, who you can currently see in Shogun. And this also stars Barry Keoghan and Neve Algar. Really, really great stuff. And based on the writer C.S. Lewis's relationship with a feisty American woman, this is Anthony Hopkins and Deborah Winger in the very emotional Shadowlands, directed by Richard Attenborough. Okay, I will pause it there, and please join me again for video 18. Yes, we're getting through them now. Leave me any comments that you have on any of those movies. Please like, subscribe. Follow the playlist if you're not quite sure where you are in all of these videos, if you're new to this. Okay, hopefully I'll see you again. All the best. Bye-bye.